With the new season close by and everybody being excited, I just wanted to quickly get out my theory about the Game of Thrones. I believe many people are wrong with the assumption that Azor Ahai will be one of the main players like Jon Snow or Daenerys. I believe that Azor Ahai and the first Night King are one and the same person. I've got a few reasons to believe this, but to make this not too long, I've shortened my story and will leave some of the stuff open for discussion. The Children of the Forest never created the White Walkers to resurrect the dead. How could they? Why would they be able to give the ability of resurrection to someone else if they don't possess this ability themselves? They created the White Walkers since they needed the ability of the First Men to walk. By turning the First Men into White Walkers, they could use this ability to walk the dead and have an army of their own. After the Pact, in the 2000 years of peace, one of the White Walkers became more powerful, obtained the power to resurrect the dead, and broke free from the control of the children. I have no idea why and how this has happened, but at least at this moment he became the first incarnation of Azor Ahai. The long night happens and humanity fights the Night King with the help of the children. Unknown for them is that this time the undead army aren't just walked undead, but are now truly resurrected as rights. They will discover this when they win the war and kill the Night King. The undead army would not fall as was expected, and so the threat remained. The only solution they could come up with is to control the undead army by creating a new Night King that could walk the whole army. The creating of this Night King is what we saw in Bran's vision. This second Night King was most likely a Stark. They needed someone with both the ability to walk and to green sea, and both these abilities are very strong in the Stark bloodline. The Dragon Claws was probably the key to prevent him from turning into a full White Walker, and so be able to keep at least part of his own mind. The new Night King walked the whole undead army and took it north. The wall was created as a safety precaution, so if something similar would happen again, they had a line of defense. To prevent fear from spreading of a still existing Night King and the undead army, most of this was kept a secret or was lied about. So why would Azor Ahai and the Night King be the same? Well, we can all agree that the Lord of Light is a very dark god, with the many bad things done in his name. The burning of innocent children and other random people, and of course the fact that if you get resurrected by him, you lose a part of yourself. Then you have the fact that the only two entities that have been able to resurrect the dead without the use of blood magic are the Night King and Azor Ahai. So is it that big of a leap that they could be both one and the same being? So why do I think that only the first Night King could resurrect the dead as rights and the second Night King can only walk? Most people accept the explanation here in this scene that since the White Walker died, all the undead he resurrected will fall with him. But what if the army exists out of two kinds of undead? One part that is walked by the second Night King and the other part that is resurrected by the first Night King. The White Walker could be nothing more than a proxy to extend the walking ability, so then when the White Walker falls, only the walked undead fall with him, and the one that is a right remains. If you look at his expression, you can even see some sort of confusion, because after 8,000 years of being walked, he suddenly broke free of this ability. So what is the current Night King's goal, and why is he attacking now? Simple, he's trying to prevent the full resurrection of Azor Ahai, because when this happens, he may lose control of his army, and more dead will be resurrected as rights. Everything he does seems evil, but may have been necessary. He started with the warnings when he made symbols with the wildling bodies, which are referring to events happened 8,000 years ago. But unknown to him, nobody believes in his existence anymore, so he needed to show the undead are real by attacking the Night's Watch. He may have left Sam alive so he could tell the story of the undead army, but more likely is that he let Sam live because he knows Sam will uncover the truth about what happened 8,000 years ago. His attack on the wildling village was a tactical move. He needed to prevent most of the wildlings of escaping, because it would create a strong army against him. So, while many innocent died, it needed to be done. After Jon had captured one of the undead, the Night King only wanted to leave Jon alive long enough for Daenerys to come with the dragons to save him. This way he could kill one of them and work it later to strengthen his army. So who will become the next Azor Ahai? A better question would be, What would create the biggest plot twist? Let's say the Night King reaches Winterfell and a great battle happens. What would be the worst thing to happen to the armies of Westeros who are currently still believing they are fighting the good fight? A new enemy appearing in the back. I believe while all this is happening, Azor Ahai will be reborn in King's Landing as Cersei's baby. The prophecy that the witch told Cersei said she would only have 3 children. So where could this 4th child come from? My guess, it's Azor Ahai. One clue I had was in the scene where Cersei was shown a white for the first time. Once the white was released from the box, it could have ran for anyone, but it went for Cersei. But was he going to attack her, or did he recognize the power of Azor Ahai, his true master, in a yet unborn baby? So how would the story play out? So we understand why the Night King attacks now. He tries to prevent Azor Ahai from being reborn. The Westeros army has no clue about this, so they try to stop him. They will probably succeed in slowing him long enough for Azor Ahai to be reborn. With it, any dead in King's Landing and around will rise as a new undead army, and many have died. But even worse, think of the big dragons laying in the catacombs. Before Joffrey's death, he had ordered the skeletons to be restored. The skill of this army could be immense. Some huge conflicting battles could happen. Jaime fighting Tywin, Davos fighting his son, Cersei being chased by her dead children and all the other peoples he has killed. So while this is happening in King's Landing, the truth will be learned because Sam will uncover the real purpose of the Night King's attack. They join forces and try to defeat the new undead army in King's Landing. They will manage to get to the baby, but they will not kill it. Since the start, this has never been the plan of the Night King. He didn't plan to kill this baby. His plan is to lift the undead curse on the whites and to finally end the undead army. If he kills the baby, the curse will remain and with it the undead armies. Even worse, if Azor Ahai gets killed, he could be reborn again at some point. So how to end this curse and make sure Azor Ahai could never resurrect again? Remember this moment? Most people accept this moment as the Night King creating new White Walkers, but why does he need babies for this? The previous White Walkers were created from adults. Using babies would make little sense. Would they even age after being turned? He's not trying to create new White Walkers for his army. No, most likely he has been experimenting to take over a baby and turn it into a White Walker so he could do the same to Azor Ahai. And here we see him succeed for the first time. If the Night King is able to turn the baby without killing it, he can undo the undead curse, and since Azor Ahai never dies, he cannot resurrect ever again. This does mean Jon will die at the moment this curse ends. Of course, he will have a legacy now through Daenerys' baby. The prince who was promised could still exist, because Azor Ahai and the prince who was promised are not the same person. I do believe, however, that the flaming sword he or she will be wielding is figurative speech. The flaming sword is most likely a beam of dragonfire. If the Night King gets killed before he's able to turn the baby into a White Walker, Bran will probably take his place and finish what he had started. And that's it for my theory. I do hope you have enjoyed listening to it, and even though the quality of this video is poor, I did my best making it. I know my theory is a bit far-fetched at moments, but in the end it could be as true as many of the other popular theories floating around on the net. Let's all hope the last season will deliver its promise of being epic, and all of you have a nice day.